recording. Hey guys, it is the 31st of May, 2024. I hope you guys are doing well out there. So, hello Piggis.
Hello.
Hello, so today we are discussing, to start with, Apple's launch of the Vision Pro internationally. So, of course, the Vision Pro has already been launched in the USA, and now it is actually going to go on sale in the international market. So, previously, we have seen reviewers sort of dunk on the Vision Pro a bit. It's not really been the most well-received Apple product. However, now they are going to be launching this device in international markets, I'm guessing with a very similar price tag to the US. So it still will be very expensive for you to buy. But now international consumers will get the opportunity to check out this device, and I guess we'll see how this goes with international consumers, because of course there are differences in different markets when it comes to consumer preferences. Perhaps in some countries this may be more popular than the US, but we'll have to see. Have you got any thoughts, Piggis?
No.
I mean, I imagine that this is just going to be one of the less successful Apple products, because so far it does not seem to have got gained much traction. And of course, in the Apple space, most products that Apple launch gain quite a lot of traction early on. So Apple actually launching this device, which hasn't actually been that well received, is a bit unusual for them. So we'll have to see whether they continue pushing ahead with VR and AR, or whether they just decide to discontinue the Vision Pro. What do you think will happen, Piggis, in your opinion?
They should
They should what?
discontinue the product.
Oh, okay. So you're in the camp of they should just discontinue the product
Discontinue the product.
and
Oh,
okay. So yeah, cut their losses, I suppose.
I think they're gonna, if they manage to like make a product with that's possibly a bit cheaper than this, I think it would drive a lot more traction.
Yeah, I mean, if they did manage to make a like $300 headset, something a bit more in a reasonable realm, even $1,000 would probably be a lot more reasonable, and a lot more Apple consumers would be willing to pay that price tag. And of course, Apple have historically had a track record of managing to get consumers to pay quite hefty sums for their products. So, of course, there was the iPhone X, which increased prices even more than people initially expected, and that still got sales. But now I think Apple may be seeing some of the upper limits of how much people are willing to pay for their products. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the Windows news. So, Windows 11 recall is now already being cracked to support unsupported hardware. So, stuff that are not So the Copilot Plus PCs were the PCs that were meant to run this software. But apparently, some people have already managed to find a way to run this software on older ARM chips. So Copilot Plus has been had a bit of a mixed reception because some people have criticized the recall feature. A lot of people saying it's very creepy, taking so many screenshots. However, there are, of course, the AI features which are a bit less controversial, like AI upscaling and other AI features which, of course, aren't as invasive. But now apparently you can use recall on these slightly lower end devices, so that does make people wonder whether their limit on who can actually use recall may actually just be a bit of an artificially imposed barrier. Whether you actually need those 10 um, t- TOPS? Tops? I don't know. Um, so people wonder whether you really need that amount of processing power to run this piece of software, or whether this is just a way of selling more specifically branded computers. I mean, what do you think, Pigus? Do you think that recall is a feature which will get any popularity, or do you think it will be sort of dead on arrival, or yeah?
I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, we can't be sure for now. Um, Windows, Microsoft do often manage to get consumers to agree to all sorts of features that they did not really initially agree to. So there was the ads in the start menu. Now that's become a lot more normal. And of course, there were many previous Windows features that people resisted. However, for some people, this could be the last straw. Some people might decide to switch to other OSs such as Linux or BSD. A lot more Linux because it's actually got the hardware and software support, which most people need. But of course, the vast majority of people will just continue using Windows, even if this new recall feature becomes a broader fixture.
hmm.
Yeah. Now, Windows, continuing on with the Windows news here. Windows subsystem for Linux is now apparently getting a big memory update. So, though, for those unaware, Windows subsystem for Linux is basically a way of running running Linux on your Windows system. So within Windows, and apparently previously some people were experiencing memory issues with this piece of software. So apparently now they've introduced some more features to improve this memory management and make Windows subsystem for Linux take up less system resources. So yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Hotshot?
Not really. I'm not too familiar with Linux,
Okay. Um. Yeah. So
but I know that um, PS would be happy with the update.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's still Windows, so
yeah. I mean, you don't want to be
still
Yeah.
running
doesn't
Windows to
matter.
start with, so.
Hmm.
Anyway, moving on to the Mac news. So, one big keyboard manufacturer, Keychron, has announced that they are now launching a ultra slim keyboard line for MacBooks and Mac devices in general. So this is a interesting set of keyboards. So there's two here, the B1 and the B6 Pro. So the B1 is slightly cheaper than the B6 Pro, but both have some features that the Magic Keyboard do not. So the Magic Keyboard does not have a Wi-Fi dongle, not Wi-Fi dongle, a 2.5. Let me see here. So a 2.5 gigahertz dongle. So of course so Keychron allow you to both have the dongle as well as Bluetooth, whereas of course the Magic Keyboard only has the Bluetooth option. So if you do want to use a 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle to connect your keyboard to your computer using USB, then that could be a good option. So that's one selling point for this keyboard. And both keyboards also have concave keycaps and a scissor mechanism. So a scissor mechanism is slightly better than the standard membrane keyboard. So that is a bit of an improvement for Mac users. And it also supports ZMK, so that is a open source firmware for keyboards which allows you to do customization. So you can use that to customize the key map or perhaps the macros which you use. So that's one cool feature. And it is also cheaper than the Magic Keyboard. So the Magic Keyboard without Touch ID goes for $100 to $129, whereas the one with Touch ID goes from $149 to $199. Whereas the cheapest Keychron here only costs $39.99, and the other only costs $44.99. So that is quite a savings. That's more than half the price. So yeah, so that's cheaper than half price. So that is a good deal if you are in the keyboard market and you use a Mac. Have either of you tried out the Keychron keyboards?
No.
I don't think so.
I've personally got a Keychron K4. It's a pretty good keyboard. It works quite well. There are some differences with the K4 compared to these models. So the K4 does have mechanical switches, which this one does not. And of course, it will be a bit cheaper because it does not have mechanical switches. However, for many people, they won't exactly care too much about what switches are in their keyboard. But for many tech enthusiasts, they probably won't be buying this keyboard. Do you guys use mechanical keyboards or do you use membrane?
I used to, but now that I'm on laptop, I'm not anymore.
Yeah, cool.
But I used to have one of those. I think it was 60%, so it was quite small.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
That's cool. What about you,
yeah.
Piggis? Do you still use a mechanical keyboard?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But yeah, I think mechanical keyboards do have quite a. I do much prefer mechanical keyboards over
Mhm.
membranes
Mhm.
because, yeah, they do feel a lot better when you're typing, and the overall just a nicer experience. So I would personally pay slightly more for a mechanical keyboard, but that's just my preference.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
But
So
the other ones are quite clunky when you've gotten used to mechanical.
yeah, yeah. It takes a while to get used to mechanical, but then there's pretty much no going
Mhm.
back. Or for you, there is going
Yeah.
back, but yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't voluntary, so.
Okay. You could always plug
But
in.
if you're looking at the yeah, I don't have it anymore. I lost it, unfortunately.
Oh.
Um, but if you look at the pictures, they're not that much different from a regular like Mac keyboard, right?
No, they're not that different. However, they do have some features that some people might actually want, such as USB-C. Of course, they're going to use that over
Hmm.
Lightning. So overall,
Yeah, but
yeah,
just the size of it, the
yeah, it's got a Mac
how slim
keyboard.
it is, and
It's
yeah.
it's got the size of a regular Magic keyboard. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh, so it's just
oh,
ultra slim for their preference,
what do you say?
or like compared to their, is it just ultra slim compared to their other lines of keyboards?
Yeah. However, certain consumers
Okay.
do like that. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of Mac users prefer slimmer keyboards because, of course, Apple sort of pride themselves on making really thin devices. Um, so
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, so the next story is about the uh about um a Android launcher. So have do either of you use a custom launcher on your phone? I mean, I don't personally
Mhm.
right now, but I used to.
I do.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called though.
is it Apex?
And no.
Okay. I used to try out like all the different Android launchers, but then I sort of gave up because they really slow down your phone if you want too many of them. And yeah, I used to try all sorts of different stuff, and I'll probably go back to trying some different launchers. Uh, a while back, I was given the opportunity to try a paid launcher, which was pretty cool. So I'll probably be doing a review on that when I have time. And yeah, there's all sorts of cool launchers out there. Um, and this one, Niagara, I don't. Okay. Launcher apparently has a summer update, so this apparently has a load of new um icons for different apps. So, of course, custom app icons is quite a big feature of custom launchers. It's quite a big customization. And now this apparently adds 101 new Anycons. So I'm guessing Anycons are this launcher's special um, custom app icons, and you can now apparently also using enhanced search functionality, as well as a new built-in calculator on the home screen, as well as contacts. So that could be helpful for some users who use that launcher. Anyway, moving on to the miscellaneous news. So Threads desktop app has been launched, and it looks a lot like Instagram. So Threads is apparently pushing a new update for its user interface on desktop, and it looks a lot like the Instagram app. Do either of you use Threads? I don't, so I've not got the best expertise on this one.
No, I don't. Goodness.
You see, I felt this was the wrong crowd potentially. Wrong crowd for people using Instagram Threads, but yeah. So there's apparently a new UI for desktop users. Comment down below if you or if you're currently watching in the live chat whether you enjoy the new UI. If you're an Instagram user, perhaps it's not your cup of tea. Let us know. But now let's move on to another Instagram story. A lot about Instagram this week. A story that sort of confuses me. I don't get the point in this one. So there is now trial reels. So these are reels which you can only see if you are not a follower of the account. So basically, it's reels for people who don't actually care. So everybody can see it except from the people who actually care about you. That's great, you know. That's exactly a really healthy idea, and yeah. Like, wouldn't you want to get more content from the person? Like, shouldn't you not follow people now? Because you can then see more content by them.
But isn't that like another type, another like subcategory of reels?
Yeah.
Or is it just an implementation to
So right now it's an
what it already is?
Right now it's an experiment, but apparently it's called sharing to non-followers. So can followers still see your stuff? No, they can't.
Hmm.
But why?
What? Not at all?
Yeah, no, the creator. It says Instagram test trial reels which don't display to a creator's followers. So basically, this is so you can test out an idea on people who perhaps wouldn't have seen your content before, without potentially risking your existing follower base. But I think this
Yeah,
could.
it could be. It could be like if a creator wants to like switch lanes, so to speak.
Yeah.
They can do that and still maintain their following.
Yeah, I think that is a part of the consideration here, but I don't feel this would go much further than it being an experiment, because I think this
Yeah.
probably won't catch on that well with Instagram users.
No, I think it might be like um a way for them to change their algorithm.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's move on to the last story here. So T-Mobile is set to acquire most of US Cellular. So we have no Farmer Josh or Crash. So we don't have any Americans here today. So nobody who's actually directly affected by these changes. But T-Mobile is a very big provider in the US. They provide actual infrastructure for US telecoms, and so does US Cellular. So T-Mobile buying most of US Cellular's operations is big news for the US telecom space. Because right now there is a big five. There's big five operators. So there's AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Dish, and US Cellular. And if this deal goes through, that will mean there's only 4 big telecoms providers. If T-Mobile ends up actually fully taking over this brand. Of course, if they do still have this as a separate brand, perhaps it will still have a bit more competition. But if they open up the US cellular telecoms to T-Mobile customers, perhaps that could lead to less competition in the long run. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, if Dish,
I think it's a bad idea.
yeah, it looks like this could become a bit anti-competitive because we've went from the big five. So there was Dish, which, you know, maybe not as big as some of the others, but they're now, you know, their status as a cellular network has been in question a bit, and now US Cellular is also being bought, which, yeah, it just overall contributes to a pretty bleak picture for US cellular competitiveness. Anyway, thank you guys once again for watching. You can hit that like button if you want to, guys. Thank you for watching. And check out the podcast each week on Saturdays. That will be a new thing. Thank you, both of you, for commenting upon today's stories and being here. Yeah. Have a nice day, both of you. And have a nice day, everybody watching. I hope you have a nice week. A goodbye.